Hey, this is Chuck and Stacy from VO Buzz Weekly.
And you are listening to GeekCast Radio Network. And
yeah!
They are awesome.
Hey there, this is BZ Collins, and you are listening to Altered Geek.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve Megatron. In this episode, I'll be joined by TFG and Mike.
Hello.
Hello. So
Hello.
in this week's adventure into geekdom, we have a whole lot planned. And what I mean by planned is Super Bowl commercials.
And
So do you watch the Super Bowl?
if teams I like are playing in it, absolutely. If I have no investments in the teams, no, not really. And
I would have been invested had Detroit actually made it.
absolutely, 100%. They had an amazing season this year for the first time in God knows how long.
50 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Red Sox drought, or it's like a Patriots, whatever. And it's like, holy crap, let's go Lions. But yeah, once they were out, I did not care about Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes and bullshit. And then there's the whole, and I'm sorry, I'll try to cut that down. But there's that, and then there's the whole BS about, the Kelsey brothers and Swifties and T-Swift. Like, oh, God. I would rather just pay attention to every statistic in the game than pay attention to that BS.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. But, yeah, there were... So, without getting into any specific commercials or trailers yet, did you find this year's to be more lackluster? Compared to previous years? Or were there, enough good ones? Or was it kind of just, a mixed bag?
See, that's the problem. Unless you have said, hey, let's do a Super Bowl commercial show, which we have only done one or two of, I think, ever. I have not, in the last 2 to 3 years, since Karen passed away in 2021, I've been dealing with too much life crap. And if the Patriots aren't in the Super Bowl, I don't care about the whole McGillicuddy. Don't give a crap whatsoever. If you or somebody else, hey, this was a cool Super Bowl commercial, I'll watch it. And I might laugh, and I might not laugh. So when you made our lovely list here of all the trailers and commercials and whatever else, I just put an M+ or an M- next to the ones I liked or didn't like.
Just noticed that. I was like, at first I was like, did it say mature plus or
mature minus? Yes, we are immature here at the GeekCast Radio Network, don't you know, folks?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that makes a lot more sense once I figured out it was your rating system.
Well, obviously we could rate them on the DCRN rating system, but that would just take too damn long. We either like it or we don't like it. Plus
yeah,
or minus.
and I think for this, that's sufficient.
Yeah. I wasn't going to sit there and make you a section because I didn't know how you felt about them. I guess I could have, and you could have changed it, but whatever.
Well, and the thing is, I didn't even list all of them.
No. Oh boy. Yeah,
I listed some of the ones that were the better ones. I didn't list the beer commercials because I was like, they're kind of. I mean, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones that are kind of some trying to play on pop culture, but they were really bad.
Yeah.
So
I think it was the Super Bowl. I forget. Honestly, the best ad I've seen in the longest time is the Walmart ad from a couple of years ago, where it's Kit and it's all these 80s. It's a Ghostbusters car. It's all these 80s cars,
and they're beaming down.
Yeah, and they're because they're doing the Walmart pickup or the Walmart whatever kind of thing. Excuse me. So yeah, that was the best one I had ever seen to that point. And like I said, really, I remember, like, all those beer commercials you're talking about. Like, I remember a lot of those kind of things. I love those classic Super Bowl commercials. And, like, I'll say it right now. Out of the, what do you got here? 8? Or 11? No, you got 11 here. Out of 11, I only minused 2 of them. So, 2 out of 11 ain't bad.
No, but I also left off a lot of the ones that I felt like we both would have been groaning or head desking at the midpoint.
Well, I can't head desk anymore. My head's about 2 inches from popping out of my skull, so I'm retired. I mean,
I'll take over.
You can say, well, you're younger than me, so you still have a few years on you before you get to a point where you're like, ow, my forehead. I can still say it. I can still fake the action of doing it, but I can't. No.
Well, that's all right. I'm old too because I wake up with back pain. Something new. Yeah. So, anyways, getting into the gamut of the trailers here, or the commercials. Then we'll get into trailers. Dunkin' Donuts.
I love that they are using Matt and Ben for all the advertising because, hello, Matt and Ben are from Wicked Pissa. I'll say that right now. It's a Boston term, whatever. But yeah, I loved that. That was hilarious.
My favorite part was Matt Damon.
Yep.
He's like, remember when you said, best friends and calling in favors? He's like, yeah.
This is it. They're naming a drink after us. It's all right.
And then they had J-Lo in it, which was even funnier.
I was surprised. Like, really surprised at that. I didn't think that would happen, but hey, there you go.
Money talks.
Oh.
Yeah, I felt like it was okay. I found it a little annoying.
And again, it's one of those. But I think
it's because I'm not familiar with like Boston humor.
Yeah, you're a Michigander / Coloradan, so it would be the same. Not Tim Hortons is Canada. What do you guys have in Michigan that's super Michigander? Anyway, yeah, that's the whole point of Dunkin' is because it's a pretty much New England-based place. I don't know how far Dunkin' has spread before, but I've only ever known it really up in New England, and it's very New England. So, but yeah.
It's in Michigan. I don't recall seeing any here, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so there was that.
It was funny.
So yeah, we got the Dung Kings.
Yep, the Dung Kings.
Then we get apartments.com, which it's humorous, but it's also Jeff Goldblum.
It's also ID4.
I know. He's like, well, you can rent an apartment here on apartments.com.
Mm-hmm. Would you like a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom? Oh, let's go with it. Oh, let's go. Oh, God, that was hilarious. That was so funny. I liked that one. That one was good.
I like anytime Jeff Goldblum shows up, so I was fine. I thought it was okay.
Absolutely.
And then we get into T-Mobile, which it's funny because you get the two guys from, I believe it's Scrubs.
Yep.
In it,
JD and Turk from Scrubs.
Zach Braff and Donald Faison.
Yep, Faison.
Faison, yeah. And I mean, they've done a lot of the T-Mobile commercials, and they sing and they do all this other goofy stuff, and then adding Jason Momoa to it was just hilarious.
I will say,
I got to give the guy props for it because, like, I would have never done a commercial like this, but it's entertaining at least, and not totally stupid.
Yeah. He did not win me over until the very final piece, very final note and everything else. And then the lady at the end, next time, do it with your shirt off. But yeah, when I saw Momoa, I was like, my eyes rolled so hard in the back of my head. I'm like, oh God. Because look, I get it. The guy deserves all the success that he's had, but he's just one of those people that is so successful and is so in our faces right now. I don't want to see him, unless he's doing something outside of Aquaman, He did Fast 10, so there's that. But, like, I don't know, he's one of those everywhere people right now, and I'm just kind of sick of him. But by the end of the commercial, I was like, okay, you got me. That was good.
Yeah. He was good, and he was a good sport about it. So it was really funny, and I was like, okay. I mean, as stupid as it was, I got to give it to him. It worked. One of my favorite ones here is the BMW with Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I figured.
Just because they're like, well, gotta drive the car.
Yeah,
but the look of annoyance on him every time somebody does a Christopher Walken. Like, he just was like, yeah, thanks, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the original Christopher Walken.
You know what the crazy thing is? Half the people trying to do the impressions, listen to what he just did, folks. Do it again.
Wow. Yeah.
That's 100% better than any of the impressions in the... And I get it, they're supposed to be bad impressions. But
yeah,
you can do a bad impression that's good. Like... You don't have to do a sucky impression.
Well, there was the guy that was the tailor, and he did pretty decent. But the rest of them were pretty bad. And I mean, I can do a, somewhat Christopher Walken. I wish I could do it better.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things I just am not. It's one of those things that I practice when I remember.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'd have to really study him. You'd have to watch.
I'd have to really do some studying. Yeah. But I love Christopher Walken. I love his voice and how he, he's like, it's just, I don't know, like, it's fun how he emotes. I don't know, it's entertaining. So I love the commercial just for that reason alone. But I think I started really liking him when he was in that Weapon of Choice. Music video like years and years ago.
Oh, that was hilarious.
But yeah, that was where I first like really enjoyed him in something, and it was funny. So, and then we have Like a Good Neighbor, State Farm is there. I love this.
I figured you would.
Yeah, when I saw Arnold, like the dude does no wrong. Like anytime I see Arnold, I'm like, okay, this is gold. And then they're like, say neighbor, and he goes, neighbor. And then they're like, no, say neighbor. And he says, yeah, neighbor, just like it's written in the paper, And they were using all these words where they, like, he needs a hard, like, R at the end, and it's like, ah.
And he can't do it.
And he can't do it.
And you know what? The whole thing about this commercial, the only reason why I like it is because what they were leading up to, which is the ending. And I'm like, oh, you bastards.
And he's like, get me out of the chop, and it's pronounced chopper, and he says, like, out, it is. And then it's funny, when they do the script change thing and it says to be continued, there's actually an extended cut of it.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't look for the extended cut.
I just found it though. And it's like and I'll send it to you over Messenger. But it's got Danny DeVito in it.
Oh, twins!
So they do the State Farm, Agent State Farm, movie premiere, and then they go and he says, like a good neighbor, and then Danny DeVito goes, State Farm is there, and then it says simple, and they're sitting next to it, and he goes, you are a backstabber, and he says, I am a backstabber. So like they're playing on the and R thing again. And they do a flashback scene where they de-age them at the very end. Yep. And he's like, I swear to be a good neighbor. And it's like him young. Yep. So I don't know. I love any time Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up. Like these legendary icons of media. Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm gonna be so upset when we're not getting anything new from these guys anymore. Because they just, like, they have that memorable voice. Like Shatner has a memorable voice. Christopher Walken, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It just, I don't know. They're really these iconic caricatures of people, but they're actually regular people. So it's funny. So I love this commercial.
I need to watch the extended cut probably after the podcast, but because I'm not going to watch it during the podcast. I wouldn't be that unprofessional.
Unless you just muted the screen, you know.
Yeah, but that loses the value.
I know. You got to hear it. You got to hear it.
You got to hear it because I got to hear how Danny's. Because the way I'm looking at this now is, like, I know this commercial
it's like twins.
Well, right, it's like twins, but like, because I don't even remember seeing twins. I mean, I'm sure I have at some point or another, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I will be watching it, obviously. So,
and then we get the Doritos commercial.
Oh, God,
which
was go ahead.
It was just weird.
It was hilariously weird, but it was awesome.
Well, the grandmothers were named Dina and then Mita. Oh. And then it was for a bag of chips called La Dinamita.
Yep, La Dinamita. Yep. Yeah, it just...
And then they're crashing, into the guy's car with their...
their carts.
Their go-karts, and chasing him across town. And yeah, it was hilarious to watch. Crazy action movie and stuff, and they're all fighting over this bag of chips. And
the girl ends up getting them in the end. And the grandmothers are like, oh no, we must get revenge.
Oh, I know. And then they come down with a scooter down the electrical line and catch him.
Yeah. It was hilarious. Oh man, that was so good.
And then their granddaughter in it steals the bag of chips. And then they get mad and decide to go after her again.
Of course. Them kids gotta learn. Leave grandma's chips alone. Right.
And then we get the Stoke cold brew with Anthony Hopkins. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either because it's Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, but like it takes away from the Anthony Hopkins-ness of Anthony Hopkins, if that makes any sense, because he's suiting up as a mascot. Really, like you couldn't have done.
Well, this was also made by Ryan Reynolds, so
yeah, and that's fine. And I don't even remember knowing that or whatever. And it has nothing to look. I'm starting to come around, okay? I get it, folks. I get it. Ryan's a national treasure, or an international treasure, considering he's Canadian. But I didn't even know that, I don't think, at the beginning. But, like, when I saw Anthony Hopkins, I was like, ooh, it's not mission difficult. Hell's the line.
Well, this is not mission difficult, Mr. Hunt. It's mission impossible. Difficult should be a walk in the park for you.
I'm thinking of Anthony Hopkins when he was awesome, not when they're having him dress up as a mascot.
Well, the funny part is it's kind of a play on his Hannibal character to an extent, and I'll explain. There was a movie called, I think it was Red Dragon, and he was Hannibal Lecter, and so like there's a part like he's dressed as a red dragon, and then he's like, cold brew that births the fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah,
which, and then he goes, yes. And then they're like, your second half is starting. And then he's like, but it's funny because he's kind of sitting there quoting as he's drinking it and just kind of, it gives me like Hannibal vibes. Even though it's not totally meant to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I liked it, but it definitely wasn't like the Arnold or like.
Yeah, it's not one I would go back to. Yeah.
No,
I would go back to. I would go back to the Patrick Stewart one before I go back to this one.
Yeah, we'll get to that one in a minute.
I know.
And then there's Pringles, Mr. P. The lady's like, "You look like the Pringles guy," and then he's looking at the can and he's like, "Nah, don't see it." And then people are posting all over, and he's just kind of admiring it and looking at it. And then he unlocks his phone with the Pringles can. And then his agent's like, I have the role of a lifetime. And it's him dressed as the Pringles guy, eating Pringles with a kid that looks just like him with a mustache. And this is Mr. P, and she's like, I get a cut. And he hands her the Pringles can.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm like, okay, that one's pretty ingenious.
And the thing is that this whole Mr. P thing and whatever else is kind of like Mr. T and all that. But did you know the actual face of the can is an actual like they actually made him? It's Julius Pringle. There's a Funko Pop of the actual like personal it's an. So I mean, if they want to replace Julius with Mr. P, I'm more than happy with that. But I dug this commercial. Though. This is funny.
It was pretty good. There's very few that were actually really good this year. Like, I mean, some were mediocre and some were okay, but this was one of the better ones. And there was a lot of celebrity commercials this year.
Yeah. Well, the NFL needs that money.
Oh yeah. And then we get to the Hellman's big game, the Mayo Cat.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the woman in I can't remember her name right now, but she's from SNL, which is why the Pete Davidson joke is funny.
Yep.
But the cat just going meow, meow, and that's saying like mayo, and people are like losing their mind over it. And then Pete Davidson's like this, like supposedly dated the cat in the commercial.
Yep.
And it goes meow. It's I don't know. It's just it's so stupid. It's funny.
Yeah, it was really funny. It was really.
It's like something I could see in like an Ace Ventura movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have couch potatoes because, oh my god, look, I love Pluto TV. Pluto TV is fine. This ad is horrible.
It is. I showed this to my wife, and she's like, "This is the stupidest commercial I've ever seen."
I mean, you can have a stupid, funny Super Bowl commercial.
She's like, it was just dumb. She says, I feel so much dumber having watched this. And I was like, no, I agree. I'm like, these are pretty bad. And so we shut them off after that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have many IQ points left. And I think I just lost what I had left on this commercial because yikes. And then there's the nerds.
Nerds.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. That was funny.
Yep. And it wasn't the greatest. Like they were trying to do like almost like a flash dance type thing with the gummy and
that's what it was because they were using What a Feeling in it. But I liked it. And again, sorry folks, it's just who I am. I always find a way to bring up. There are 3. I actually need to get the third one. There are 3 Funko Pop Nerds characters. There's grape, strawberry, and cherry. I don't have the cherry one yet, so I need to get that eventually.
And then the last of the commercials, which I didn't have in our document,
it's
is
fine. Figured.
Is Paramount Plus Super Bowl spot, and this is with Patrick Stewart throwing a Hail Arnold on the mountain of entertainment of Paramount. And you got the guy from Survivor, you got Drew Barrymore, you got a football player, you got, I have no idea what team, I don't care, but the Dolphins guy, yeah. And then you've got the guy from Reno 911. You've got, Arnold from Hey Arnold. You've got Master Chief from Halo. I'm not sure who the pig character is. They've got Knuckles, and then they've got Dora the Explorer, all standing here like, we're going to freeze to death, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, well, Picard, I thought it would have been funnier if Picard would have been like, well, after throwing, Hey Arnold and going, well, it sucks to be you. And then he like beams up and leaves them all there. But they didn't do that. And I was like, oh, but he says, what about throwing a football shaped head? And he goes, we throw the child, gutsy call. And the football player is like, looking at him and they're all starting to chant, throw the child. Barrymore's like, no, we won't throw the child. And he's like, shut your face, Barrymore.
Yep.
And it was just funny how like angry he got with it. Mm-hmm. And throws off the thing with the football player's like, yeah, I can't throw it. And then it says, throw the child. And Creed starts playing.
Yep.
Can you take me higher? And he's dressed in this old, like... He's dressed in this like old football uniform from like England.
We need to talk about Patrick Stewart looks in this commercial because Holy crap. I understand he is up there in age. I understand.
Oh, dude's in his 80s. That's why they made the joke about him, like, misquoting all of the sports in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that. But I thought he looked a little bit better than what he looks like in this commercial. And I don't know if that's part of the joke or not, but damn.
No, he's considerably aged since Logan came out. And when they had him in Star Trek Picard, he didn't really... the dude looked like...
Don't spoil too much of it. We still have an altered track to get to
but
for that.
season 1 and 2, he just looked tired. In season 3, it was like he got his energy back, and he felt younger than he did in season 1 and 2 because of just the portrayal. But he has the capacity for it, even though he looks old.
Yeah, I know he has the capacity for the acting. It's just he looked. It makes me sad.
It does make me sad because I think of him as young Picard watching,
And the crazy thing is, Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, I was fine. Go ahead.
So, and the crazy thing about this is, as we are recording this new episode of Altered Geek in 2024, we just started recording Altered Trek, which is our new Star Trek review show, starting with TNG, DS9, and going into Picard. And I'm looking at him in season 1 of TNG, and I'm like, okay, he looks younger, looks decent. Man, am I used to him having a bald-ass head. I'm not used to that season 1 back flat gray-white hair he's got. And again, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not going to take points off of a TV show because somebody is younger looking with whatever hair they have. But it was just... Again, because I haven't seen TNG, all that. I haven't seen it in X number of years or whatever. So, but it was, and I can't even. There's a whole other discussion about stars of yesteryear versus whatever stars are out now, because stars of today are just whack.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh. Yep. I'm not going to argue with you at all. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And even Drew looks like she's gotten up there. I mean, I know she's aged.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, it's hard looking back at it because it's like we're getting up there too, and going to start decaying at a fast rate like them.
Yep. But that's life. That's the way it happens.
Yep. It's either you decay or you're dead.
Folks, I don't mind being a current Dodge dead or dying garage equipment, but eventually you won't be able to flip me over and read my details. So I must return on foot.
So Picard, though, Patrick Stewart goes, "It's the 5th quarter." and we need a hole in one before the 7th inning stretch. And the football guy's just looking at him like, dude, I think you got your sports wrong. And then he says,
shut your face, whatever.
And he's like, be brave, little one. And then throws Arnold, and then you start hearing Creed singing.
Yep.
And the funniest part while they're all watching is where Creed's singing, and Picard goes, I just threw him higher.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the rest of them, are just watching. And then Arnold starts singing, he just threw me high. And then he smacks his face. He's like, I'm good.
Yep.
And then he's like, what we need is someone made of pig skin. And then they point and he goes,
Peppa.
Oh, no. Yeah. He's like,
Peppa
oh,
Pig.
boy. And then they continue, singing. And I don't know. I love that commercial just because it's the most inventive and funny. Somebody at work showed me that, and I started laughing hysterically when it came out before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. So, funny thing, really quick, as a somewhat detour, I can talk. Creed is in the middle of, or they're starting a second reunion. So that's why they were even there. in that commercial is because they've gotten back together. Are You Ready tour is starting in November of this year with supporting acts Three Doors Down, Mammoth, WVH, and Finger 11. I'm hoping for a new album. Hoping. I don't know if it'll happen, but hoping. So,
And then, of course, we have the movie trailers. And
That's
some
right.
of them, like, I don't... some of them I listed more so just out of the fact that we have new sequels coming to things. It's pretty much, like, other than one movie that's listed that... I mean, there's a couple of movies, but most of them are either remakes or sequels of something else.
There's only one original movie on here.
Which is Ryan Reynolds.
And that's fine. No problem.
No.
I'm good. Yeah.
No, but it's funny because they have the one guy show up as John Krasinski.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's like, you're not the real John Krasinski.
Yeah. Because
the guy actually, it's a play on The Office. I've seen some of the clips. Like he's screwing with Dwight in the thing and pretending that he's the character. So it's funny that they're doing that. But I don't know. The movie looks okay.
So out of the 8 of these, I'm basically even keel. I've got 4 pluses and 4 minuses. Kung Fu Panda, look, I like Jack Black in a lot of things, but I do not care about the Kung Fu Panda movies at all.
I feel like it's kind of run its course. I mean, there was a TV show about it for a while.
Yep.
We've had, this is the 4th film in it. It seems to be the year of 4ths because there's 2 others that are having a 4th film in their franchise. I didn't throw in here Beverly Hills Cop 4 Axel.
Because honestly,
it wasn't Super Bowl, but it was kind of a teaser.
Yeah, it was a teaser, and we will be doing a show in the future on that and everything else because, like I've said before, I've watched that trailer over 500 times.
It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Another minus for me, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I have never cared. The only time I've cared about the Planet of the Apes is when they show up at the end of Spaceballs. That's it. I've never had any interest. It's not that I don't think it's bad or good or indifferent. I just don't have any interest in it. So I didn't care for that trailer.
Well, this is my thing with the Planet of the Apes franchise. While I don't dislike it, they started this universe in like the early 2000s with like Mark Wahlberg.
24 years
and
ago.
then it's kind of just taken forever because it's all CGI. And they're making it so much more extravagant. And I get it. Like there was a ton of them in the 70s and 80s and, whatnot, but
it has a legacy. It's just that they've ruined the legacy.
Well, it's not that they've ruined it. It's just they've taken forever to get to the point. Like it's like how it's like Avatar. It came out in the 2009, and then they're like this last year. They're like, oh, here's the second movie. It's like, dude, that was like 10 years ago. It's like you should have come out with this in like 2011, 2012, like not 2023, and then it still looked like crap. Like it didn't look. It looked actually worse than the first one. And it's like nobody asked for it either. So in that regard, like I feel like that's the case with this, and it's funny because it's still at 20th Century Studios, which is Disney.
Yeah,
it's there's that, and then we got
Sisters.
We got Kung Fu Panda 4. We've got Despicable Me 4, which is Illumination.
Yeah, which I'm looking forward to 100%.
Which
I've been waiting for that movie.
I don't dislike Despicable Me. There's definitely worse animated films that could be getting a sequel. There's Twisters, which it's not even like a sequel. It's just kind of in that vein.
Yeah, and I'm like
it's nobody from the original, as far as I know.
Editor Mike here. So I've read up a few articles. What the hell am I? I've read some stuff online, folks, and yes, Twisters is a sequel, a standalone sequel to the original 96 film, even though, so far, none of the 96 cast are in the film. With it coming out in July, I doubt the 96 cast will be back. It's only February, but I don't think it'll change that much between now and July. Back to your regularly scheduled Altered Geek. God. So, yeah, and I'm like, I didn't, again, folks, reminder for everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice, I use trailers to inform myself whether I want to actually watch something or not. I saw the original Twister trailer back in 95 or 96 or whenever the hell it happened. And movie about a tornado that kills everybody. Okay, not for me, don't care. And everybody online, everyone that I've seen online on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere, like, Twisters? That's the name of the quote-unquote potential Twister. They just added an S on. Like, how lazy are you?
Well,
like, at least put a subtitle.
It's a movie where there's two big F5 Twisters that combine or something.
Yeah, I get it.
I
understand. But I won't be watching that.
I won't either. I think, I think there might be a couple of people or premises from the original that kind of come back, but it's basically a glorified horror film at this point.
If I'm very interested in, because it reminds me of Drop Dead Fred, even though If is animated.
It does. Yeah, but I feel like it'll be cleaner.
Well, yes, obviously, because it's animated characters and things like that. Yeah, but that's what it reminds me of, because If, for those that have seen the ad and those that haven't, imaginary friend, that's what If is. And
it's funny because somebody in the comments of that trailer goes, they're finally making a movie about Grimace.
Oh, poor Grimace.
Yeah, but I feel like, and this is the funny thing with Ryan Reynolds, he gets it.
Yeah.
Like, not only in the marketing of things, like, because he did the fake John Krasinski thing in the trailer, but also, like, he just gets how to make, like, an original property and make it fun to where people care about it, and it doesn't have to be tied to something else. Like, yes, he has the Deadpool series, and yes, I know they're making another one of
Free Guy.
I forget. Yeah, Free Guy. But for the most part, like, all of his films are standalone, and they're great. And it's like a breath of fresh air, considering Hollywood can't seem to come up with an original idea to save their life. And so, like, that alone is great for me.
Like I've said before, hey, I've come around to the guy. Plus, he defends Nickelback, so I'm happy about that.
Once upon a Deadpool.
Kind of prefer Marvel movies. We are Marvel. Yeah, but, you're Marvel licensed by Fox. It's like if the Beatles were produced by Nickelback. It's music, but it sucks.
Hey, that's it. I'm done. I've had it with all this Nickelback hating, all right? You think that makes you cool with the cool kids in school, Fred?
No, it just makes me right.
It doesn't.
They're overproduced, formulaic ear garbage.
Oh, really? You know who might disagree with that? Facts. 50 million albums worldwide. 11th best-selling musical act of all time. Billboard's most successful rock group of the last decade. 6 Grammy nominations, 12 Juno Awards. Those count. 6 Billboard Music Awards, 2 American Music Awards, 1 People's Choice Award, Canadian, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Sorry. I thought we were just having fun. I didn't realize it was
you were, you gotta say, you were nicer as a kid.
Tired of living like a blind man.
Sick aside with a sense of feeling. This is how you remind me.
This is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you remind me of what I really am. It's not like you to say sorry. I was waiting on a different story. And I've been wrong. I've been down. Been to the bottom of every bottle.
Yeah, he did that in Deadpool too.
Yeah, I know. But it's one of those things where, look, I was wrong. He isn't. He was. saw Van Wilder. I liked Van Wilder. I thought that's all he had at the time.
Which it was at the time. Like that's all.
No. I know. But I'm saying, like, I thought that was the only form of acting / comedy / whatever that he was going to like. Hollywood was going to throw him into all. Like, look, I like Adam Sandler in the '90s. I haven't liked Adam Sandler since 2000. Never 51st Days came out 2004. And I know you like Adam Sandler, but you've also had
since he went to the Netflix specials, he's been crap.
I was going to say, you've had issues with his films recently, but 2004 was the last film he ever did that I actually enjoyed watching. And the rest of the stuff he's done since 2004, I don't care. I would rather go listen to What the Hell Happened to Me, the album, What the Hell Happened to Me again, than watch any of his current stuff. But I was wrong on Ryan. Ryan was more than what Van Wilder just was. And even the character of Van Wilder was more than what he was, kind of thing. So, hey, I've already got planned, folks. Steve doesn't know this yet, but I've already got a whole Ryan Reynolds rock and rollin' round table type thing coming on Studio 2009 this year. So
I'm good with that. I like his films.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited for that. I know there's they teased, and this was like shortly before Super Bowl stuff. They teased Sonic 3, and it sounds like Robotnik is back with Shadow. Well, and Shadow, I think they're having Hayden Christensen play.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Because he's kind of come back to the fold on acting, and he's doing that. He's doing Anakin. He's doing Vader. He's, Yep. So, but I have heard that Jim Carrey came out of retirement only for Sonic 3. Like, basically, he'll pick up an occasional film here or there, but he's not, like, he's done as far as, like, mainstream continuing to pump out crap.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm excited for that. And then, of course, we have the last trailer. I say for last year.
Obviously.
Yeah. It's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Or, as Hugh Jackman fixed it on social media, Wolverine and asshole. And I love the marketing for this movie. Between him changing that, and then we've got, I saw on Instagram one of the posters where it's the heart necklace things. It's 2 heart necklaces. One side is Deadpool, one side is Wolverine. Best friends come together July 26th. That's the other thing, folks. He doesn't know this yet, but we are going to be doing over on Studio 2009. We're going to be doing wow. I can't talk tonight. We're going to be doing a double shot of Deadpool with Deadpool 1 and 2. So
I'm game.
Yeah, I know you are. Hello. I just mentioned the dude's name and you're going to do it. Don't worry about it. I got it.
But yeah, so it was funny because they have kind of they joked in the teaser, one of the breakdown, the trailer breakdown, that it was kind of a Fast and the Furious thing with like his group of people for his birthday almost. He's got hair, which looks horrible on his character.
Thank God they pulled that off.
Well, and it was kind of a gag, I think, because he can't grow hair. But also, he's like, make a wish. And then the TVA shows up at his door.
Yep.
And they pull out their sticks, and he goes, whoa, 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 and shuts the door. And he says, is that supposed to be scary? He's like, pegging isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney. And then he looks at the camera and breaks the fourth wall. And then the TVA rip his hair off and pull him through the secret door. And he's sitting there, and they're like, did you know you soiled yourself while you were unconscious? And he says,
I wasn't unconscious.
He says, I wasn't unconscious. Who are you?
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm wondering where in the timeline this takes place. If it's after Loki season 2, or if it's like sometime before that.
Don't know.
But Wade's there, and he's working for the TVA essentially in this part, and he gets in his costume, and it looks like they put him in the movie Age of Ultron at one point. Because of the snow and the way the effects are, and then they show him the Avengers, and the only one he salutes is Captain America. And he says, if I smell it, what you're stepping in, Sensei.
Yep.
He's like, your little cinematic universe is about to change forever. And then you see him walking up to like Wolverine in the white suit, like gangster Wolverine with the eye patch thing that they teased in a comic. And he's it's funny because there's pieces of hair still stuck to his head after the fact.
Yeah, it is.
And they suit him up, and then where he's throwing the throwing stars in the forest, it's very much Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
During that time period where they're going to the Sokovia, to so I'm wondering if he's going to save Quicksilver. So they get a speedster on their side, and like he's basically building his own like enemies of the state of mutant Avengers. Mm-hmm. And you see the 20th Century Fox sign, in the ground, like Planet of the Apes, and they kind of insinuate Doctor Doom, even though that character isn't because he's too low tech.
Yeah.
But they have Pyro back from the X2 and X3. In his comic uniform. And nice. I love how they have Wade ducking behind stuff during basically the Age of Ultron type fight with I think they're TBA members though here. Oh, like he's fighting the TBA or because it was the same guys that abducted him, and he goes, "Wait!"
Yep.
Like the first film all over again, which was great. And then you see his body just kind of laying on the ground. And then Wolverine walking up. And then he's like, "Oh, would you help me up?" And then all of a sudden the shink.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny because hopefully, folks, we will have a brand new featured banner art for this episode. I remembered as we were talking about this to throw in that picture. I did screen cap that, except, and I wish I could figure out how to turn this crap off in YouTube, it popped up the next video and then whatever his image is for his channel. So I know you're an art genius when you cut and do things, but I do have for you that screenshot of Wolverine in shadow with the claws out, because that's just awesome. Love that.
And I'm ecstatic that they're going to finally put him in his uniform.
Absolutely.
So, yep. It's going to be a funny movie. It'll be interesting because I know that they're supposed to bring back a lot of the X-Men.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And I've heard that they're going to bring back part of the Avengers, too.
That'd be cool.
So it's going to be very costly for Disney, which is probably why it's the only movie coming out from Disney and Marvel all year.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing we're going to get some guys from other universes that come out of retirement to play their character again. I wouldn't doubt it.
Hey, man, I'm all for it.
I'm hoping.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hoping. But so I think we're pretty much on the same wavelength here of what we're looking forward to.
Absolutely. Like I said, Despicable Me 4. I love that franchise. We're eventually going to do that on Tooncast or /Studio 2009, whatever, at some point. So there's that. Deadpool Wolverine, we're in. If we're in. No. So there's that.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all the stuff from the Super Bowl, but it was spectacular what we got.
Mm-hmm. It was very, very interesting, very fun. And yeah, like I said at the beginning when you asked me, I'm like, unless my team's in it, which my team wasn't in it, which is fine, I don't really care about the football game unless the Patriots are... Even if they lose, I don't care if they win or lose, as long as they get there. That's all I care about. And they didn't get there, which is fine. It is what it is. We've got some restructuring to do with the Patriots, but, we'll get there. We'll figure it out eventually, one of these days. I mean, Belichick finally retired, so Jared Mayo, which it's funny with the cat and the helmets. I'm like, all as I heard was Mayo, because obviously it's Mayo, but like, literally, my first thought was to the new head coach of the Patriots. Meow. Meow. So, all right, I think we're going to go to a quick ad break, and we'll come back to close the show right after this.
Hey, Jared, I have this idea for a new show for the network.
What is it?
You know how I liked the 1990s comic book series, The New Warriors?
Yeah, yes. Yep.
And you know how at the Long Box Crusade we're trying to get the YouTube channel going?
Yes, also correct.
Well, thanks. So, how about you and me do a live stream show about the New Warriors? You've never read the books before, and I have them, and so that's a great setup. We could give it a catchy name like Come Out to Play. Don't you think that's the greatest idea?
Sure, Delvin. That's a great idea. Just one question.
Yeah?
Why do you have me dangling off this ledge, holding me by only one arm?
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll get it soon. I hope. Come Out to Play, a New Warriors podcast, comes to you live on YouTube every second Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Longbox Crusade channel. If you can't watch it there, we replay them on the Longbox Crusade Network podcast feed, available anywhere podcasts can be found. We invite you to come along for the ride, or in other words, New Warriors, come out to play.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The GeekCast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm the host of the Rock Nerd Radio Show, which airs live on HudsonRiverRadio.com every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It also gets backed up as a podcast, which you can find on your preferred podcasting platform. Every week on my show, I talk about all kinds of pop culture. I talk about music, I talk about movies, TV, comics, collectibles, and so much more. I also feature a guest on my show periodically, which you might enjoy. I have a couple of special segments on my show, one called the Cover Song of the Week and My Favorite Thing in the World This Week. If you think this sounds cool, check it out sometime. I hope you do.
On the Simplistic Reviews podcast, we talk movies. We talk TV. We talk...
Hello, Julie, what the heck are you doing?
Trying to make our spots sound more exciting by adding explosions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have got the point across with sound effects, not the real thing. Car.
Download this show on iTunes or at simplisticreviews.blogspot.com.
I'm sure your insurance company will cover that.
No, they won't.
No, they probably won't.
All right, folks, that's it for Altered Geek. You want to take us out of here, sir?
Sure. So, remember, if you liked the podcast, let us know. Leave us some feedback. Leave us some ratings. We'll be covering some other random geekiness on the next episode. But as always, thank you for listening to Altered Geek. I've been your host, Steve Megatron, along with...
If you and Mike.
And you can, of course, interact with the show on the website, geekcastradio.com, and on Facebook. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
Catchphrase.